finance our own roadshows to provinces, engaging with the premiers and members of the executives to really begin to look at the support that is given to the municipalities using Section 154 so that we don't have to wait until the municipality is in serious deep crisis. This exercise is coming okay, that we are able then to find each other so that we support municipalities maximally as the Constitution obligates on us. Secondly, it is for us to introduce the provisions of the Intergovernmental Monitoring Support Intervention called the IMSI Bill. Once concluded by the Cabinet, it will then be presented to Parliament for tabling and considerations, and we hope this will happen within this financial year. The district development model already is in function, and we are therefore engaging with all role players, the state-owned entities, the traditional leadership, as important stakeholders to ensure therefore that the planning development of communities, they are part of it. When we talk about one budget, one plan, they are also part of it. In conclusion, the ministry is committed to restoring the dignity and integrity of the institution of traditional leadership and local government. I would like to thank my family, my staff in the office, the Cooperative family for continued support that we can execute the manifesto of the governing party. We support the budget vote 15 of the Department of Treasury Affairs, which has consistently in the past 5 years has been receiving clean audit. The budget is minimal, it can't fulfill some of the objectives and mandate, and as expected to do the service to the traditional communities. The support for budget vote 3, which has improved in its audit findings, is critical to ensure the great strides that the department has laid in serving the people of South Africa with pride and dignity, as well as building blocks for a resilient, safe, sustainable, prosperous, and growing communities. As the words of Nelson Mandela, he said, it is always seems impossible until it is done. I thank you, Chairperson. I was able to finish my speech.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Deputy Minister.
Honorable Chair,
Honorable Nomalo.
Yes, Chair. Can I debate on behalf of Princess Angela? I was locked out when you called for my name for the IFP.
I would like to take advice from the table about that, Honorable Nomalo. Just stay on the platform. I'll take advice on that.
Thanks, Chair.
Okay. I wanted to say, Honorable Deputy Minister Bapela, I had to tread very carefully in making sure that you use all the available time for your good self. I mean, with the name K.O. Bapela, who would not be cautious?
Definitely, Chairperson, I agree with you.
The next speaker is from the ACDP, the Honorable Thring.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The ACDP recognizes the right of any sovereign nation, including Israel, to protect itself from unprovoked attacks. No nation, Chair, when it comes under enemy fire of thousands of rockets, can sit by and leave its innocent citizens defenseless. We call on the South African government in this case to play a peace-broking role, a diplomatic role of working toward a two-state solution for the Israelis and the Palestinians. That said, the ACDP is aware that the budget for the Department of Cooperative Governance in respect of 21-22 financial year reduces by almost 10% when we consider vote 3 and 15, from 106.9 billion in 2020-21 to 100.8 billion in 21-22. Clearly, this reduction of some 6.1 billion under these trying economic times impacts further on service delivery or the lack thereof. The ACDP is cognizant of the concerns and issues raised by the committee and reflected in the APP of the department. These include...
Honorable Thring, can I take a point of order?
Chairperson,
yes, sir.
Chairperson, this is the debate on cooperative governance and traditional affairs. What has that got to do with international relations and
honorable member.
the Speaker
Honorable member.
asking for support for apartheid Israel.
Honorable member.
What is the relevance?
It also has got nothing to do with you because it's not your court.
No, but what's the
Thank you for the defense, Chair.
What's the relevance here?
Without disturbing him, honorable member, please.
What he was reading.
Refrain from doing that. Honorable Frank, could you please continue?
You are debating Copta here, not Israel, not those things of Zionist Israel.
The minister raised the debate when she opened it.
Honorable members, please. I do not think that members of the EFF are monitors of this debate. Leave members to complete their speeches. It's not your call, please. Let us not disturb each other unnecessarily. You will get your time, we've got your time, nobody disturbed you when you put forth your debate. Honorable Thing, could you please continue?
Thank you, Chair. The ACDP is cognizant of the concerns and issues raised by the committee and reflected in the APP of the department. These include the district development model, concern about it, municipal infrastructure grant expenditure, the implementation of Section 139 of the Constitution, municipal financial viability, the functionality of the Municipal Public Accounts Committee and disaster hazards. There can be no doubt that a monitoring and intervention bill to give effect to Section 139 of the Constitution is much needed. And one wonders why this bill, which has been on the department's APP since the fourth administration, has not been fast-tracked. Surely, if one acknowledges the report of the Auditor General on the dismal performance of the majority of our municipalities, then a monitoring and intervention bill based on the principles of good governance is sorely needed. Honorable House Chair, it is said that everything rises or falls with leadership. In this regard, the ACDP believes that the Municipal Infrastructure Support Agent has contributed to the fall of many municipalities across the country. An example of this follows the engagement with the Ledwele Putswa district, which revealed that there were only 4 MISA engineers for the entire Free State. This begs the question, how is MISA going to support the envisaged 44 districts to reduce infrastructure backlogs and improve performance in respect of their municipal infrastructure grant programs? Now, Chair, sub-program 7 on municipal governance in program 3 of the department's 21-22 budget sees an increase of over 5,000%. Good governance, Honorable Chair, refers to structures and processes that are designed to ensure accountability, transparency, responsiveness, rule of law, stability, equity, and inclusiveness, empowerment, and broad-based participation. A failure to employ these fundamental principles will see a 5,000% loss in municipal governance and a throwing of good money off the bad. The type of leaders needed in local government are able, trustworthy, God-fearing men and women who hate dishonest gain. The ACDP has such leaders. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Frank. Honorable members, the Honorable Buthelezi could not come in from the IFP, not because of his making, but I will therefore accommodate him at slot number 12, where there is AIC, if AIC is not available, or we'll take the next one, Honorable Ngumalo. The next speaker on the platform is from the ATM, the Honorable Mahau.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The late Mr. Kimi Makwetu, in his latest local government audit report, late in 2020, paints an undesirable picture of billions of rands of funds allocated to municipalities being managed in a way that are contrary to the prescripts and recognized accounting principles. He strongly cautions that these administrative and governance lapses make for a very weak accountability and the consequent exposure to abuse of the public purse. The overall theme of his report was quite damning. He said, I quote, "The safe and clean hands that can be relied upon to look after the public purse in local government are few. Due to time constraints, Chairperson, I will sample only 3 provinces to illustrate that with desperate need, the forthcoming local government election to remove the corrupt and incompetent ANC-led municipalities. I will start with the Eastern Cape. The Ages report tells us a story of a widespread lack of financial controls and project monitoring is an ongoing culture of a lack of accountability, as well as tolerance of transgression, which resulted in a further regression in audit outcomes. In the province, improvements were rare, and the general trend over the past 3 years remained negative. 8 municipalities were unable to adequately support the information reported in their financial statement and regard disclaimed opinions. The report includes irregular expenditure of 2.5 billion incurred during the year under review, and further 4.2 billion was flagged for audit financial subsequent to the cut-off date for this report. Province spent a total of 118 million in consulting costs for financial reporting. This 2 million was spent by municipalities whose audit had not been finalized by the cut-off date of the report. The only problem we are saying is that consultants are appointed, but there are no skills that are transferred to the officials of the municipalities. So they continue appointing consultants, whereas that money is supposed to go to service delivery. Free State has experienced 1.4 billion for irregular expenditure, 46 million on consultants, and even in Free State, the same problems that of non-transferring of skills by consultants to the officials of municipalities. Gauteng Province, 1.7 irregular expenditure. A further 3.3 billion was reported for audit finalized subsequent to the cut-off date for this report, with the city of Tshwane Metro account for 2.9 billion and Mfuleni account for 358 million. What we are saying as ATM, we are calling for an urgent intervention by the minister. The heads must roll, Honorable Minister. We are tired of listening to the platitudes and hollow promises.
Thank you, Honorable Member. The time is up, Member Mahau. Thank you very much. I wonder whether Honorable Lesoma is ready.
Yes, Honorable House Chair.
Okay, we were about to call the Honorable Mpumza. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair Daden Tombela. Now I recognize the Honorable Member Gigi Mpumza. Over to you, sir. Honorable Mpumza.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, Chair of the House. Am I audible?
You are audible, Honorable Mpumza.
Honorable Chair of the House, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Honorable Members, and the heads of the agencies of the department. Chair, I rise on behalf of the African National Congress to welcome the budget vote 3 cooperative governance, which supports the critical aspects of economic reconstruction and recovery of the country. Honorable Chair, the ANC has long recognized that job creation and decent work is central to reduction of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. As the President has indicated on numerous occasions, the rebuilding of South Africa from the ruins of COVID-19 must transform the structural fault lines of apartheid and colonialism. The role of local government in driving economic development and transformation is critical for setting South Africa on an inclusive growth trajectory. While the fiscal constraints are acknowledged, this budget creatively allocates funding to sectors of the economy that stimulate growth. Therefore, strengthening intergovernmental alignment of national economic development programs with the local economic development plans of municipalities in the local space will impact positively on job creation opportunities and economic growth. We know, Chair, that the infrastructure is the largest spending program on the economic development function in the budget, and the capital expenditure programs are protected from budget reduction. A clear commitment, a clear ANC commitment to investing in infrastructure as a catalyst for economic growth. We are saying that regulatory reforms should also encourage investment to drive economic growth and job creation in the local space. In order to fund new bulk water projects and maintain raw water, the spending in the 2021 financial year is 28.6 billion to 30 billion in 2023-2024. And this is expected, it has grown, and then as a result, as part of our oversight, we must ensure that infrastructure projects are driven through localization by using South African suppliers, material, and South African companies, thereby empowering young people and women in cooperatives so that we are in a position to ensure social integration and social cohesion by purposely linking local economies with district and national economies. We massify and optimize and transform the structure of the economy. It is therefore imperative that we strengthen the policy and the implementation of cooperative programs for youth and women in order to eradicate poverty and enhance once more social cohesion. Chair was saying the land reform program, when it's neatly tied to integrated regional spatial planning, as envisaged in the Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, shall go a long way to render rural and urban dwellers to live in sustainable human settlement close to economic opportunities and social infrastructure. Therefore, the local sphere of government must create conducive conditions for the development of small, medium-sized enterprises and startups to ensure that we build the economy within the context of the district development model so that the district hubs become the supporters and the facilitators of such economic activities in the local space. We appreciate the input by Honorable Rings in relation to our policy of catered development, but we want to remind Honorable Rings that the example of a well-run city of Cape Town is indeed well run for some, but is run down for the people of Khayelitsha, the people of Philippi, and the people of Clairefontaine, where spillages, sewer spillages, are running down the streets for months, 6 months down the line. And that is indicative of a well-run city, as an example by the Democratic Alliance. Chair, as the ANC, we are unapologetic in our determination to use the budget with the levers of the state power to drive a thoroughgoing economic transformation in line with the NDP vision. We therefore, as the ANC Portfolio Committee, support the budget vote 3 of cooperative governance and traditional affairs. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Bumza. You are on time. Well done. And now I recognize Honorable Member from AIC. AIC. It seems like AIC is missing in action. Now I recognize Honorable Member from the IFP, Honorable IFP member.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. Honorable Chair, the IFP has repeatedly voiced its concern about the state of municipalities across the country. Now, the level of mismanagement and irregular expenditure has reached an unaccountable high, unacceptable high. And it seems that this wave of corrupt conduct on the part of the public officials then is unabated. In light of the critical role that local government has been tasked with playing during the pandemic, the state of affairs is quite concerning. Citizens are left at the mercy of corrupt officials to provide emergency water, increase sanitization of public transport and facilities, food, shelter for the homeless, as well as basic and community services. Now, Chair, the IFP wishes to express its concern over the last 3 years. The department has received negative audit findings. The department charged with handling billions of rands from the public purse, is an alarm to which we must collectively respond. It is indicative of a culture of impunity when it comes to an unlawful conduct and misappropriation of funds. Further, the Office of the Auditor General had noted that despite these unfavorable audit outcomes, corrective action needs to address these serious qualification areas, particularly relating to accruals, payments, and irregular expenditure, have not yet been implemented. Now, the IFP echoes the AG's concern regarding this. Some projects spending almost all the budget but having very low performance. Disparities like this speak to the heart of the poor governance and lead to the tax deficits that is currently existing between the public and our government. We note with concern the reduction in the department's overall budget allocation. Now, this reduction has implications for institutional development and the community work program. Further, the funding model for this municipal infrastructure support agent is worrying, as this will hamper MISA's ability to execute its mandate effectively. Now, the IFP strongly suggests the re-evaluation of this model for optimal operation. The IFP recognizes the integral role of COGTA in addressing numerous and critical needs across the country, especially in such unprecedented times. However, we remain concerned that the vehicle through which large amounts of public finances are channeled have become seeds of unscrupulous individuals to line up their personal coffers. And because this inflexible proponent of funds with this COVID-19, there's very little of the current financial predicament can be assigned to the interruption of projects and to the diversion of funds by the pandemic. Now, honorable members, the IFP once again demands to see more reasonable accountability and sanctions when it comes to public officials who have been found guilty of having broken the law. We simply cannot tolerate this lack of discipline in the financial management. We need to ensure that proper checks and balances are enforced. Further, failure will be the expense of those who are most vulnerable in our society. Those that are desperately reliant on the access to essential services will end up paying the ultimate price, and it will not be the first time this time. The IFP supports this report. I thank you.
Thank you, Zwide. Now I recognize Honorable Sibisi from the NFP. Honorable Sibisi.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair. The shocking state of South Africa's municipalities was uncovered last year after the Auditor General released its local government audit outcomes for the previous administration. Then in its third year, Honorable House Chair, the AG further showed us that over a 3-year period, the audit outcomes of 76 municipalities regressed, with only 31 improved. Now, in the midst of COVID-19, we can only imagine by what extent the municipalities have regressed. Patiently wait to see the audit outcomes and whether they will exceed the previous levels of fruitless expenditure. The breakdown of irregular expenditure per province is as follows: Eastern Cape, 2.5 billion incurred during the year under review. Free State, 1.4 billion for the year under review. Gauteng, 1.7 billion for municipalities. KwaZulu-Natal, 6.5 billion for the period under the review, with eThekwini Metro incurring 2.34 billion
Honorable Speaker, we lost you.
Of this amount. Limpopo 1.5 billion for the year under review. Mpumalanga 1.09 billion. Oh. House Chair. House Chair. Honorable House Chair.
Kuba baba siyakuzwa, uchair is muted.
Oh, thanks, man. Bearing in mind the municipality's irregular expenditure, the minister in her budget speech last year told Parliament that COVID-19 did not spare the municipalities because revenue collection was affected. So to ease the burden, municipality received an allocation of 20 billion. These are significant amounts of irregular expenditure, and it would assist us to attend to this matter, especially now that we are seemingly approaching a fiscal cliff. The National Freedom Party would like to appeal to the Minister and SALCA to look into the underperformance of municipalities in this seemingly failing economy. This country does not need dysfunctional municipalities. We note the budget, but appeal to the Minister to hit the call to address the underperformance of municipalities. We therefore support the bill. Thank you, House Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I'm not too sure whether Honorable Mkalipi was assisting or what, but you'd listen to him, but I think to her, but I think you should listen to me. Now it brings me to recognize Honorable Hatebe from the ANC. Honorable Pungan.
I was assisting you, Chair, ngoba I saw that you are muted.
No, let's leave it. Let's proceed, honorable members. Honorable Hatebe with an H.
Thank you, Chair, and my apologies, my video is malfunctioning. All protocol observed, Chair. The main objectives of the liberation struggle was the total transfer of power from the apartheid racist regime to a democratic majority. The focus in this phase is to build an effective developmental state that is capable of transforming social and economic relations of power in the society. The creation of a developmental state has been dampened by factors that include political and administrative leadership and skills deficit. These weaknesses in capacity and performance are most serious in historic and disadvantaged billion allocated to OR Tambo District Municipality as earlier on announced by the Minister. On oversight work, Honorable Chair, in our oversight work, we have found that the shortage of skills and the lack of professionalism negatively affect the public service in all levels. In municipalities, recruitment structures tend to allow too much political interference in selecting and managing senior staff. This results in a turbulence in senior posts, which in turn undermines the morale of public servant and citizen and loss of confidence in the state. The report of the Auditor General has raised challenges pertaining to human resources in local municipality as one of the factors which contributes to the underdevelopment, as monies which are meant to address service delivery issues are wasted paying consultants while retaining a very high salary bill. Local government, many of which have experienced a severe deterioration in basic service delivery in recent years, needs to institutionalize the financial management reforms where there is a significant underspending. The development and retention of a capacitated human resource in a critical it's a critical factor that needs to be taken into consideration in the quest to building a developmental state. It gives the state a competitive edge and that enables transformation to take place. We must make a public sector attractive to young professionals who are beaming with new ideas and will come up with innovative solutions. Hence, we appreciate the training of 390 young people and those municipalities who subsequently absorbed them, as announced by the minister in her speech earlier on. We further call upon the department to expedite the process of remodeling the community works program. We welcome also the target, as announced by the minister, of 250,000 participants for this year. On the deployment of qualified councillors and staff, and Honorable Chairperson, we are headed towards the local government as announced by the President on the 27th of October. The ANC has been engaged in a political discourse about the caliber of public representatives that it must deploy. The ANC will ensure that in its internal system, we select only the best candidate for local government. As part of the renewal, the ANC will select the best cadres for political deployment, and we further encourage cadres of the ANC to continuously improve themselves by studying further. If we look at the state of metropolitan municipalities that were handed over to the DA2 coalition after the 2016 local government election, all of them have collapsed due to political and or administrative failure. The main content of the developmental state is that it seeks to effect socio-economic transformation, reduce inequalities, deepen transformation and inclusion of Black women, youth, people with disabilities, and members of LGBTQI communities. We welcome the investment rural master plan and the hectares made available for this plan. Under the ANC, our municipalities will use their power to buy local goods, services from local producers. The buying power of the state at the local level should be used to stimulate local demands, create value chain, and create a system of innovation. Now, Honorable Chair, allow me to address Honorable Brink. It appears as Honorable Brink is suffering from island of memories because he only remembers what he wants to remember. Yet in his own party, the white supremacists has forced Musi Maimane, Bongosi Madikizela, Herman Mashaba, Patricia Delil, to mention but few, to step aside in order for DA to preserve the white supremacy and white minority. Because DA at this current juncture, they are done and tired of experimenting with Black leaders. Honorable Brink, why about ANC stepping aside? The recent by-election results speaks volume about the confidence our people still have in the ANC. By the way, Honorable Brink, the ANC has won an award from the DA in Knysna, Western Cape. Now, the only thing that needs to step aside is white supremacy and the DA. I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Member Pungane. Now I recognize Honorable from COPE. Honorable Member. Honorable PAC. It seems like they're missing in action. Then we'll move to Honorable Al-Jama. Honorable Hendricks, over to you, sir. Same applies. I now recognize Honorable Spice from DA. Spice from DA.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, in considering this budget vote and annual performance plan, I cannot help but be reminded of our committee oversight last week. I left the Northwest Province saddened and angry and hopeless, not only because of what I heard and what I saw, but also because of the total disregard for people. How can public representatives so blatantly slap their communities in the face? After a week, back in my home province, the Western Cape, I've slowly recovered and have hope again. The recent Ratings Africa Municipal Financial Stability Index found the top performing municipalities in the country to be in the Western Cape. Whether you want to believe it or not, the top 6 performing municipalities are DA governed, of which 5 are from the Western Cape, and the 5 worst performing municipalities are governed by the ANC. And no, we are not saying that we are perfect. we have our fair share of mistakes. But on average, we outperform the ANC in every single municipality where we govern. Mayor for mayor, audit report for audit report, street light for street light. And that's why people move from towns and cities where the ANC governs to towns and cities where the DA governs in hope of a better life and better opportunities. And Honorable Mpunza, in terms of Khayelitsha, the ward councillors from that ward is from the ANC. They are missing in action. They're not attending meetings. And the best thing that the electorate can do is choose different leaders this time around who represents their interests. However, taking these challenges into account, our municipalities perform despite this. It's testament to the confidence that members of the public have in how their money is well managed and not stolen or wasted, as the case is in ANC municipalities. So what makes these top municipalities stand out from the rest? It is clearly not throwing another model at them or throwing millions at them. No, it is getting the basics right. It's about delivering proper services at the right time, proper and sound financial management, good governance, and commitment to effective oversight and accountability. The top performing municipality in the country, Mossel Bay, is a perfect example of just that. Over and above 6 consecutive clean audits, they get the basics right. To them, it's about implementing and monitoring the system at its most basic level, setting weekly work schedules with constant monitoring and immediate intervention, even when only half a day behind. They have a service committee that sits every week. It's about realizing that every complaint about water leaks and potholes is not handled in 48 hours. It will culminate in a total breakdown, even without you noticing the trend towards that failure. Long-term plans must be strictly adhered to because every lapse essentially creates a new plan that not everyone else is aware of, resulting in different outcomes and possible chaos. The Midvaal municipality in Gauteng is another example of getting the basics right. Midvaal only spends 24% of its total revenue of 1.16 billion on salaries, which allows for 130 million to be spent on various infrastructure projects throughout the year. They pay their creditors within 10 days on average, compared to the national average of 180 days. Unlike some ANC municipalities that run a salary bill that is higher than their equitable share, which means that once they have paid themselves, there is no money to deliver any services to its residents. The Attorney General last year strongly suggested, Chairperson, that other municipalities in Gauteng replicate the Midvaal's model of good financial and performance management. Yet the governing party refuses to reach out and learn from best practices because their egos are bigger than their commitment to deliver to the very people who elected them. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. That will bring us to Honorable Derico from the ANC. Over to you. Honorable Derico.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Chairperson, Ministers and Deputy Ministers, Honorable Members of the House, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Chair, before I could start with my speech, I just want to clarify some few things. Of the local government election, and we really understand when some of our colleagues from oppositions behaves like popcorns in a hot oil, because it is within their DNA to grandstand, and also to exaggerate. We acknowledge the fact that we have challenges in local government as a result of corruption, poor planning, lack of accountability, etc. But not all that is lost in the midst of what I've just mentioned. There are some municipalities and councillors who understand why they were elected into their positions, who are dedicated to do their work and understand that we should put the interest of our people first. Funny enough, Chair, honorable brings come from the political party where racism is the order of the day, comes with uninformed allegations of racism in the ANC-led municipalities. ANC is a non-racial organization, which I cannot say the same about DA. As Honorable Hadebe has indicated, where is Musi Maiman? Where is Lindiwe Mazibuko? Just to name the few. Chair, as the ANC, we acknowledge that there are elements of corruption in some of the spheres of government. Hence, in our national conference, the 2017 conference, we have taken a resolution to deal with corruption. Corruption knows no color, knows no status, and it is everywhere. Chair, not so long ago, the leader of DA was all over social media for 1.4 million. What was the money for? And what is it that the DA is done with the case? Because he was all over, 1.4 million. He was assaulted, and he's a leader of the DA. But they are quiet about the matter. And they are here to tell us about corruption. Whereas we as the ANC, we are acting on corruption. And Chair, Honorable Brinks spoke about the employment of capable public servants, of which I agree with him, because it was raised on the Auditor General and in many reports that we have that some of the employees in our institutions are not qualified. However, it seems a bit like a hypocrisy, because in the DA in Tshwane had at some stage employed Stephen van de Villas as the executive head of the mayor's office. And his only qualification that he had at the time was bodybuilding. I think as much as we raise issues, we must also clean our houses before we can come with other matters. Chair, honorable members, local government is a critical sphere of government which is in the coal face of service delivery, and it serves as a direct link between our people and government. Local government provide critical basic services such as water, sanitation, electrification, housing, and many other community services. The African National Congress has acknowledged the weaknesses in the local government and need for major intervention to ensure that all our people receive service delivery that is due to them and to uphold their rights and dignity. Failure of local government will result in the provision of poor service delivery, which will negatively impact the lives of our people. One of the major impediments to effective service delivery is one of corruption and crime. Crime is a destructive, and as this manifests food theft of municipal assets and the vandalization of municipal infrastructures and facility. Our communities should take full ownership together with municipality to protect the public asset and ensure that all those who damage and steal the municipal properties are brought to the book. African National Congress has drawn a line in the sand on the endemic challenge of corruption and culture of no consequence management. Government structures and accountability in local government is central in addressing the challenges of corruption, which steals from our people and leads to underdevelopment. As I've indicated, the ANC National Congress of 2017 came out strongly against corruption and identified it as a strategic enemy to the creation of developmental state. Hence, we have taken resolutions that are dealing with corruption. And also, Chair, the Auditor General in the report titled, "Not Much to Go Around, Yet Not the Right Hand at the Till," which looked at the state of financial management in local government, highlighted some of the weaknesses of governance structures and systems on financial management. Arising out of the Auditor General report were the issues of municipalities that fail to achieve a clean audit, the issue of municipalities that regress, the issue of wasteful and irregular expenditures, which also impact negatively on the municipalities. Parliament has also led an amendment of the Public Act to empower the Auditor General to recoup funds on material losses in order to ensure consequence of floating supply chain management process for corrupt ends. These additional powers are consistent with the resolve of the ANC government to improve accountability and consequence management in the public service. Through the Municipal Revenue Enhancement and Audit Outcomes Program, the department seeks to enhance such weaknesses as supported by this budget. The report of Auditor General also raised that Some of the challenges in local government centered around human resources, and the main cause of wasteful expenditures is that municipalities spend large sums of money on financial consultants and yet at the same time retaining high salary bill, which is not value for the money. The development and retention of well-capacitated human resources is critical in the quest of building a capable state, especially a developmental state that is interacting with the market forces and seek to champion the developmental agenda. The Municipal Systems Act, which provides for the establishment of MPEC, will also assist in providing more oversight on the municipal funds and will assist in ensuring that wasteful expenditures is kept. There is also a need to strengthen the implementation of Section 71 of Municipal Finance Management Act, which provides financial system which must be put in place for early warnings. Honorable members, there's a need to address the challenges faced by local governments such as institutional, political, and financial weaknesses in more holistic manner. Hence, as the committee, we have adopted some bills and we also referred some bills to NCOP for public participation. Those bills will assist in ensuring that we achieve our objective. The political leadership in local government is vital for the success of governance. All political parties have obligation to play their oversight role and to represent the interests of the people. The political and administrative interface is one of the major challenges for our municipalities. Interference of political leadership on administrative process is one of the causes of the abuse of public funds. A toxic relationship between administration and politicians results in straining of service delivery. Political infighting in all political parties have negatively impacted the services in the municipalities. And the other issue which serves as a challenge is the councillors after local government poses a leadership challenge, as some of the councillors are new and at times lack local government exposure. The exit of the experienced councillors erode the institutional capacity of the institution. In this regard, the department and SALGA should continue to support the councillors and provide ongoing training to the new councillors after the 2021 local government elections. Councillors are the representative of people and should always account to the people. The ANC understands the needs to have a well-capacitated public services, but also a political leadership that understands the complexity of the political economy to provide leadership. In order to build a capable political leadership that is going to complement the public service, the ANC has put in place internal system to ensure that its public representatives acquires the knowledge and the skills to lead their areas of deployment. The ANC has established the O.R. Tambo School of Leadership Academy, which offers courses that will assist all our deployees to understand their roles and responsibility. Chair, our portfolio committee on corporate governance and traditional affairs held its meeting weekly as part of its oversight to ensure that there's accountability by local municipalities in order to improve the performance of municipalities. This has also given the portfolio committee the opportunity to zoom into the specific challenges hindering consequence management and the impediments to fight against corruption. This meeting also enabled us to get to the root cause of other financial challenges such as accumulating debt, lack of revenue collection, and structural challenges which weakened the capacity of local government. Government interventions such as Section 139 and Section 154 are one of the mechanisms of government to intervene in addressing financial challenges in local government. This intervention requires continuous strengthening such as they don't become an ad hoc. And in most circumstances, this intervention takes place when municipalities are already on its weak position. This results in intervention not making the desired outcome and impact. The research by Treasury on Section 139 intervention concurs with our observation. The main recommendation of this research paper titled Mind the Gap is that what is required to tighten implementation of financial warning system is one piece of overarching legislation that can be owned by both Proctor and Treasury and includes appropriate part of existing legislation that will guide the entire intervention framework. Chair, we also welcome the inclusion of the tabling of the monitoring and intervention bill by the end of this current financial year. The creation of an ethical and capable developmental state requires the strengthening of local government.
Wrap up, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, wrap up. You are left with half a second.
Okay, as I wrap up, as the ANC, we support the budget vote, and we also recognize the effort that have been made by government to include the traditional leaders in the running of the council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Now I recognize the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Honorable Nkosazana Dlamini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Am I audible? Am I audible? I'm not. Am I audible, Honorable Chair? I'm not audible. Okay. Let me. I'm still not audible. I am now. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the honorable members who have participated in the debate. We listened very carefully, but in the interest of time, I might not be able to refer to all of them. Starting with the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, we will provide information to the Portfolio Committee all the time when they ask for it, except where there may be issues. Like one, I was checking, there are areas where we're still doing disciplinary proceedings, and that information may not be readily available until we have done that. Thank you. And then on what Honorable Hlengiwe says about the new program. First of all, we reported on this program last year. We were just giving progress. Secondly, she should be happy because these young people are not going to be dependent on the state. They are going to be working, and they are going to be creating jobs, forming co-ops, using the skills that they've now acquired. And they are going to be supported to start up businesses and so on. So she should be happy. They are not going to be working only for 2 days a week. They are going to be working all the time. Coming to Honorable Spies, I just want to say, yes, the DA municipalities may be well run, but if you look at the informal settlements and so on, how people live there, and in some of the townships, you may find that the impact is not seen there in the dignity of people's lives, in a better life for all. So yes, you must run the municipality well, but it must also translate to a better life for people. I can go through Mossel Bay if I had the time, even just access to water and so on. I want to just deal with what Honorable Brink said, because I think he's right that things went wrong at the beginning. And I will tell you which things went wrong at the beginning. Things went wrong at the beginning when our land was stolen and taken by force. When our people were put in dormitories in the townships to provide cheap labor in the cities, and the cities were only accessed by white people. And at night, there were actually curfews for black people, so you had to be out of the city at a particular time. That's what went wrong at the beginning. When education was free and compulsory only for white people, that is what went wrong at the beginning. When rural areas were left without electricity, without clean water, proper roads, no schools, no clinics, no hospitals, and were left there to provide cheap labor for the mines and for the farms. That is what went wrong at the beginning. When there was job reservation for white people who may not even have gone beyond primary school, but jobs were reserved for them, that is what went wrong at the beginning. When municipalities were there and they were servicing white people, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When the economy was monopolized by a few and the rest of the black people were left out of the economy, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When those who fought for freedom, the freedom fighters, like Tata Mandela, were called terrorists, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When they were locked up in prison for years and years, that's what went wrong at the beginning. When freedom fighters were killed, some of them brutally, and actually their bodies were burnt, and those who were burning them were sitting and enjoying braai next to that. That's what went wrong at the beginning. Even now, you can see the legacy of what went wrong at the beginning. Take the Western Cape itself. Look at Langa, look at Nyanga, look at Khayelitsha, Mitchell's Plain. It's so different from Camps Bay and from many Bishop's Court and many other suburbs. So that is what went wrong at the beginning, not what we are talking about, because that's not where the beginning is. So you must identify where the beginning is, and you'll be able to identify what went wrong. Because I couldn't finish my speech, let me just say that I wanted to thank the Portfolio Committee. I wanted to thank SALGA. I wanted to thank all the entities that we work with, the Demarcation Board, the Commission for Religious and Linguistic, Cultural and Linguistic. I also want to thank the IEC that we are working with on local government. I want to thank the staff, the DGs in the two departments. And I want to thank the Deputy Minister, who's now holding a position for two Deputy Ministers, because we lost one of the Deputy Ministers. So I thank you very much. Thank you.
Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Thank you. Right.